Thank you for watching this video. To best support the channel, please take a moment and click the subscribe button. Also, the links to purchase this fly and the materials to tie the fly are in the description. Today we're tying up the complex eZee bugger. We're going to start with a predator hook in the vise. It's a partridge of predator streamer hook, model CS51 in size 8. And we're going to go ahead and lay down a thread base with some classic wax thread from Semperfli in 6/0. Once you wind back to the bend of the hook, you're going to go ahead and measure out a hook's length of marabou and tie that in at the back end of the hook, and then wrap your thread forward and trap in all the marabou up to a couple eye lengths behind the hook eye. That way we have a relatively uniform body for our tying today. So I'll advance my thread back a little bit and trim out this marabou stem and the other fluff. And from here we're going to go ahead and grab some flashabou and tie in 2 different colors of flashabou so that we can get a little bit of flash in this fly. Our first color that we're going to tie in is a speckled silver, and then we'll tie in a speckled gold. So we'll fold that over on itself around the thread and then tie that back, split it so it goes down both sides of the fly. Pinch that in place and wrap our thread on back. Then we'll grab our flashabou and trim it out so it's the length of the marabou tail. And now we're grabbing our second color, the speckled gold, and repeating that same process. So we'll split that down the sides, pinch it in place, and wrap our thread on back, locking everything fully in place. And then we'll go ahead and grab our flashabou pieces and trim them off that same length of them as we did with the speckled silver. From here, we're going to go ahead and grab a feather off of a saddle patch of India rooster in olive. And we're doing olive so that it contrasts and gives a little bit of extra depth to the fly. So I'll tie that in at the tip and preen all of the barbs back on the feather. And then we'll tie in a section of black eZee bug yarn, and we'll tie those in, lock it down tight, and then advance our thread up to the eye of the hook. And then go ahead and grab your grater clips or whatever you want to use to pinch these 2 materials together, and pinch them in at the back end of the stem of that feather, and then twist everything up. Make sure you don't trap any of the fibers. Brush those out with your fingers or with a comb if you want, and build that up so you get some good durability built into the fly. And then we're going to go ahead and counter wrap, or wrap the opposite direction that we normally would. So we're wrapping under the hook instead of over the hook, and that'll give us a clean tie-off point when we're done. So we're going to see me preening all the fibers back as we wrap forward, trying to minimize whatever we get trapped on this fly. And I like tying it in this way with the bulky end at the back of the clip so that it gets bulkier and bulkier towards the head of the fly, giving us more ability to push water. And once we get to the end of our marabou, where we have a couple eyes or an eye and a half of space left, we're going to go ahead and grab our materials with our right hand and trap everything down with a couple wraps with our left hand, getting everything locked into place. And then wrap a couple times in front, pulling our thread tight to make sure nothing's loose, and then trim out the tag end of our complex twist section of this fly. I'm going to preen things back a little bit and clean up our tie-in point a little bit. Brush things out, make sure things feel good going through the fly. And then we're going to go ahead and grab another hackle feather from the rooster saddle patch. And this is going to be a little bit more of a webbier fly, or a webbier piece, a little bit bigger. And we're going to wrap that in so that our feathers curve towards the back of the hook and build up a head on this fly. Gives us a little bit more push and a little bit more wiggle on this fly to entice all those predatory fish. And once we get up to the eye of the hook, we're going to wrap this off, and then we'll grab our thread and catch our stem with the crossing wrap, and then do a couple more wraps to make sure everything's tight in place, and trim out the remainder of that stem. Our next step is to grab our whip finish tool and whip finish this fly off. After a couple turn of whip finishing, snip off your thread and your fly will almost be completed. At this point, grab some UV resin. I'm using some Raid Zap Thin in this video, and I'm going to go ahead and hit that head to give it a little bit of extra durability. We'll cure that little bit we put on top, and then we'll use the rotary feature on our vise to go through and allow us to get resin on the underside and on the sides of the fly. Couple little dabs here and there. Make sure everything's nice and coated. And then grab the UV light to finish this fly off. This complex eZee bugger is a water pushing wiggly fly that will get the predatory fish paying attention, and it's going to be a fun one to play with. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Swing by the shop and grab some as well. Thank you.